Good morning and welcome to the DFS Army YouTube channel. I am Razzle11 and you can find me on X at Razzle11Grinds. We are going to take a look at some pitching for today, the 18th of September. We have, I believe, an 8-game main slate on DraftKings. No weather to worry about and no Coors, I believe. Correct. So we are good to go. Good to just dive into the slate. At the top, we get one of the hottest pitchers in baseball, Freddie Peralta. Over the last month and a half, has been absolutely dominant. Almost 2 months now. Uh, Pretty much the entire second half has been ridiculous. Has had some struggles against St. Louis this season, which is a little shocking. Um, but we know that they've seen him plenty over the last couple of years, so I guess it shouldn't be as shocking. His road numbers definitely not as strong as his home numbers. I believe he's a pretty solid favorite, minus 178 favorite in this game. Plenty of upside. Tough to not like him, even on the road. 11.3K is definitely up there for him, but uh, the game's important for the Brewers, so I would expect him to be on top of things. His, 3 out of his last 5 road starts have been really strong, so I like the trends going in that direction as well. We had Zach Wheeler as a road underdog at Atlanta. Not overly excited to play Zach Wheeler against the Braves. He has been solid against them. 1-0 in 2 starts, 16 strikeouts, averaging 22 DK points per start against them. He did make his last start against them and struggled. His first one against them had to be extremely dominant then. There it is. In Atlanta, struck out 12. Yeah, like knowing that he's capable of doing that to this team, I don't expect it to happen again, since that was almost 4 months ago. But it shows what he's capable of doing going into Atlanta. So I am going to keep him in my pool because the upside is there, and he has been much stronger on the road. So it's a dangerous one. Not something I'm going to go super heavy on. Maybe a 15% type play, but somebody I definitely want to keep in my pool. Justin Verlander, best at home. 2 out of his last 3 starts have been pretty bad. Both of those starts have been at home, which is a little worrisome. Baltimore, tough opponent. Houston is a minus 160 home favorite. I will have exposure to Verlander, but it's probably going to be similar to Wheeler. Uh, Verlander has a slightly better matchup. Wheeler's just, I think, a better pitcher at this point, but I do think both of them are viable. Eduardo Rodriguez on the road. His last couple starts have not been good. Walks have been up quite a bit recently. 4+ in 3 out of his last 4. It is the Dodgers. Dodgers are a minus 190 favorite, but I do kind of like Eduardo a little bit here. Um, we know that the Dodgers are pretty platoon heavy, so there are some strikeouts in the right-handed version of their platoons. And we also saw on Sunday they rested a bunch of guys. The lineup looked super weak. Still managed to get a W, but uh, they might over the next 2 weeks have some weird looking lineups as they finish out the season to get ready for the postseason. I don't expect them to sit everybody again today, so should be a pretty normal lineup, I would think. But there's also the chance that they do rest somebody here and there. Uh, I think there's upside. He's going to be, in my pool, but again, similar to Verlander, probably a 10 to 15% play just because it's super dangerous. Michael Walker going to be pretty popular, I would assume, against this Colorado team. His numbers at home have been phenomenal. I do not see a Vegas line yet. Let me refresh. Nope. Um, wasn't great against Colorado. The first time he faced them, did beat them. Coming off a pretty bad start. Wasn't very strong against Philly either. But an extra day of rest coming in, pitching at home. I think it's a pretty strong recipe for him. Uh, yeah, his first start of this year came against this Colorado team. He's definitely gotten a lot better since then. Colorado probably has gotten worse as a team since then as well. So I think Walk is going to be fairly popular, and I don't mind it. Another one that I think is going to carry some ownership here would be Lance Lynn. Did beat Detroit earlier this year. Struggled with walks in that matchup, but was pretty strong. Has a couple bad starts recently. Bounced back last time against a tough San Diego team. The one thing I worry about here is where have the strikeouts gone? Um, 9 strikeouts over his last 5 starts. That's not really, that's one start right here. So there are some concerns there for me, to be honest. But it is a plus matchup. He is a minus 190 home favorite. Detroit does have a team total in the threes, I believe, roughly, like 3.8 or so. Um, so Lance Lynn definitely going to be in the pool, but I don't think I'm going to go as heavy as I, might have if he was coming in, during this stretch right here where he was really strong for the Dodgers. But Mike Clevenger, I don't really know. Like we just never get Clevenger right. It feels like we're all about him in this start, and then he just got his doors blown off by the Tigers, which I didn't understand. He came back the next start and dominated the Tigers. So um, I'm gonna use him. He's a minus 120 road favorite here, but we do know that the Nationals do not strike out a ton. They did strike out a little bit against Woodruff and Burns, guys that I would expect to strike out guys in their lineup. So, but Clevenger's certainly in play for me. I didn't realize we skipped Montgomery, but I'm not really interested in Montgomery that much. He's coming off of a dominant start against Toronto. His numbers at home haven't been as strong. I mean, Boston isn't an overly tough matchup, especially for a left-handed pitcher. But we have a bunch of guys in this range that I'm gonna have to make a decision. Maybe Montgomery makes it in, and maybe I decide that I don't love the trends for Lance Lynn and look elsewhere. The Lynn one is going to be tough because he's going to be pretty popular. I think people will blindly play him against Detroit. Brian Wu against Oakland, coming off a really strong start. Arguably his best start of the year. Yep, would be his best start of the year. He was atrocious against Cincinnati. He dominated Oakland already. He hasn't been as strong on the road, but this matchup is just too good. It's a minus 178 favorite. Game total of just 7.5. That's going to put the Oakland team total in the low threes. It's going to be really tough to ignore Wu. I expect to see a pretty decently sized ownership projection on him as the day progresses. JP Sears has made 2 dominant starts against Seattle. It's actually kind of surprising to see for me. Um, and another surprise is he has been worse when pitching at home. He's not a huge K guy. Um, 3 pretty solid starts in a row. Walks are there, Ks are down even more. I don't think I can go to Sears, even though he's shown the ability to shut down the Seattle squad multiple times this year. I just don't think I'm going to force him into my pool. If he does end up in my pool, it's going to be as the last man in, the number 8 guy in my pitching pool. But right now, I would guess that he does not make it. Means, great to see Means back. I'm just not going to use him against Houston. Couple home runs, just 1 strikeout in his return from Tommy John. Cutter Crawford. I do have a little bit of interest in Cutter. He is an underdog. But we have seen Texas's lineup struggle a little bit recently. I don't think I'm going to end up with Cutter in my lineup. He did struggle against them, but he's been really good on the road, like phenomenally good. So he's in consideration for me. Not going to use Kyle Wright against Philadelphia. He just hasn't looked right, I guess. So no thank you there. Adon hasn't been good at home, but he has flashed some ability. He's just not a big K guy. Uh, so I don't think I can go there. He's an underdog. Probably just going to have to pass, even though I have been picking on the White Sox with pitching of late. So nobody here at the bottom. So there we have it. If you enjoy what I bring to you, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, turn the notification bell on to get the alert anytime we drop videos here at DFS Army. And if you want to join us, get access to our coaches, tools, sheets, Discord, etc., I'll put links in the description below. You can use promo code RAZ, that's RAZ, for 10% off. And as always, best of luck, everybody.